If you're thinking you may want to buy a home, but you've heard the market's crazy, you're thinking maybe you should wait, well, you're in luck. That's exactly what I'm breaking down for you today, and the answer may not be what you were thinking. All right, so this is gonna be a good little exercise that I'll walk you through, and it doesn't matter if you're in a buyer's market or in a crazy seller's market like we're at right now. You can use this to decide if it's gonna be better for you financially to buy a home now or you should wait. And we are going to primarily just talk about buying. If you're selling, it obviously adds a little more to the conversation, but we're just gonna be talking about buying today. So let's say you wanna buy a home right now, and the average price of that home is gonna be $300,000, right? That's what you've determined is your budget, $300,000. We also need to look second at interest rates. You can go to bankrate.com is a website that I really like. I will warn you, their rates are like the super premium rates that nobody qualifies for, honestly. So they'll probably be a touch higher than there, but it's a good way you can see where rates are at right now. Currently, I'm recording this January 22, and we're around 3.25, okay? So you're gonna need those two numbers to start with. Then you're gonna go to a website called mortgagecalculator.org, which I really like, and I use this site all the time. And it's a great way to just get you some generic ballpark figures for how much your payment's going to be and how much the cash to close is gonna be. So you need those two things to start with, bankrate.com, mortgagecalculator.org. Once you've gotten those two things, I'll put them into the calculator here. You can see I'll use generally about 1% for your property taxes, $1,200 give or take for your homeowner's insurance. It's a pretty good estimate that you can start with. And for the sake of this, we're gonna use about 3.5% as your down payment. Obviously you can do more, there's options to do less, but we'll use 3.5 as a pretty good starter down payment. If you're wondering what cash to close is gonna be total for you, I've got a whole nother video you can go check out later. But for now, that's what we're gonna start with. So when we plug that all in, you'll see our payment's gonna come out to about $1,730 per month, okay? That's if you purchase now, $300,000 with current interest rates, $1,730 a month. Now, typically we're gonna see about 3.5% in your closing costs, and then we'll use that 3.5% for your down payment. So then our total cash to close is gonna be somewhere around $21,000, okay? Again, don't let that number scare you. We can get that down if you need help with down payment assistance and things like that. But generally speaking, maybe about $21,000 if you purchase right now. Now the next number is gonna make you throw open your mouth a little bit, and it doesn't matter if you buy now or later, it's always gonna be terrible, but that's gonna be the total interest that you'll pay over the life of the loan. So as you can see from the website there, it'll give you the total amount that you'll pay over the next 30 years. At 3.25, that's gonna be a disgusting $164,072. So that's gonna be the total interest that you'll pay over the next 30 years, which is obviously gonna be determined both on the sale price and the interest rates. So then, let's look at what we're expecting to happen if you wait. Now, what's really, really important is you've gotta look at what's the market going to be doing in the next year. Now, nobody really knows. I certainly can't predict the future. But by talking to different experts, lenders, realtors like myself, you can reach out by watching your market updates on our channel. You'll see we'll give you a pretty good idea of what we're expecting that market's going to do over the next 12 months. And it's fairly accurate, okay? Obviously, nobody has a crystal ball. But currently, we're in 2022 right now. I'll label that on there for you. We're in 2022. And our home prices this year are expected to go up about 5 to 6% in the next 12 months. I've seen some that say like 2 to 3%. I've some that said, 7, 8, 12%. 5% is pretty conservative, but that's the average number that I'm seeing. So that's what we're gonna use for today. So let's say over the next 12 months, we'll call this 2023 you're buying. Let's say rates go up only 5%. Obviously that's gonna give you a sale price of $315,000. Now I'll do this for you, but on your own, then you would go into mortgagecalculator.org and you would change these numbers to project what it's gonna be in 1 year, okay? Next, we gotta look at what interest rates are gonna do. So the Federal Reserve has said they're gonna adjust rates about 3 times this year. I believe starting in March is what I heard last, somewhere in the middle of the summer and then in the fall. So when they do that, what I'm hearing is that they'll adjust rates by about 1% in the next 12 months. Could be more, could be less, but that's what we'll use for our best guess for what's gonna happen. So then obviously with rates, they'll go up to around 4.25 they're expecting by next year, okay? So then once we punch that all into our calculator there, we can see our payments are gonna jump to $1,972 per month. So that's an increase of about $241 per month. Now, if you're doing this and you're in a shifting market and you're in a buyer's market going to a seller's market, this would be the opposite. Okay, so right now, obviously, your payment's going to be $241 more for the exact same house if you wait 1 year. But if you're shifting the other direction, maybe you're watching this video in 5 or 10 years after I'm recording it, this could be different for you, okay? So then with your cash to close, now it doesn't really change as far as your closing cost goes, which is about half of this $21,000, but it would just affect your down payment, obviously with the higher sale price there. So I'm gonna guess, we'll go up to, let me see, we're thinking about $21,50, okay, is what I'm factoring in. So that's an increase of about $1,050. Did I do that right there? 22, excuse me. I thought my math sounded weird. So increase of about $1,000 total cash to close. So that's gonna be your down payment, everything else that's due when you purchase the property. A year from now, just about $1,000 more in your cash to close. Last thing, let's look at the total interest paid. And this is really gonna blow your mind. Seriously, you can't pay your mortgage that fast enough, but $234,000. 359. Disgusting, but obviously that's a huge jump of about 70,000. $70,000 more total interest that you're gonna pay over the life of a loan. Go put it in the mortgage calculator if you don't believe me. It's just crazy. But you can see, obviously, if we go from 3.25 to 4.25, I mean, that's like a 30% increase just in your interest rates. So that's a dramatic increase in your interest rates. So perhaps, you're thinking, okay, well, I want lower payments, I want lower cash to close, and I want to spend $70,000 less. That does sound great. Then does it become, is it a bad idea to wait, or if I'm not ready now, should I wait? And here's what I tell people. I don't want you to time the market. I want you to move when it makes sense for you, when you've got cash saved up, when you've got a good job, where you're ready emotionally. I don't necessarily care what the market's doing. You should also know, like, the interest rate, for example, historic average is like 8%. So the fact that we're at 4%, it's still half. We're still at a really, really good spot. This isn't to tell you to hurry up and buy or to wait or buy, depending on your market. It's just you got to make an educated decision based on what the data is saying, not from what some dramatic news source or something is saying. So there you go. There's a quick, easy formula. We've got a ton of info, like market updates, so you can see how the market's trending on our channel. So make sure to subscribe, and we've got a bunch more content right here.